it's impossible to use another person to make yourself happy. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to yet again another video. So you guys read the title. In this one, I want to talk about why I don't think it is a wise decision or a good idea to rely on someone else for your own sense of happiness, or rely on some kind of relationship partner for your sense of identity or your sense of purpose or your sense of meaning in your life. Okay, now, before I get into it, I just want to be extremely clear. This video is by no means trying to shit on relationships or trying to say that people that are in relationships are bad or are stupid or are anything like that. Or am I trying to say that I think relationships are bad or something like that? Absolutely not. I think that healthy, loving relationships are a positive thing, and I strive for that in my life, and I'm sure a lot of you do as well. And I think that having a healthy, loving, stable relationship is and can be a good thing for someone's life, okay? And is one way that you can derive some meaning in your life, okay? The problem that I have is that whenever there are people who rely on their relationship for a sense of happiness or self-esteem, right? So, like, the point of what I'm trying to say is that I do not think it is smart or even possible to use someone else to make yourself happy. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of people in the world who have this mindset where, you know, if they just get a girlfriend, they'll be happy. If they just get a wife, then they'll be happy. If they get a boyfriend, that'll fix all their problems. You know, if I get married and get a husband, then I'll be happy, you know, then my life is complete and all this kind of stuff. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that your self-esteem or your sense of purpose or your sense of identity on this earth has to come from within yourself. You know what I mean? You have to develop your own sense of self-esteem and self-worth from within, like from God. You know what I mean? If you don't have that, and you're relying on another person to make you happy, like, you know, I have to have this group of friends, or I absolutely have to have this or that relationship partner. Otherwise, I'm just miserable, you know. My boyfriend or my husband is my entire reason for my existence. Who I am is my husband, or who I am is my wife. My wife is just my only reason for existing, you know what I mean? I get my sense of happiness and I feel fulfilled, and I get all of that sense of self-worth from my partner. I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's a good thing. I think that's codependence. I think that's an unwise move in life, because think about this. Guys, relationship partners can leave you any second. You know what I mean? That wife that you have that you think is so loyal to you and that you get your sense of self-esteem from and you love so dearly and so dearly loves you could leave you tomorrow. You know what I mean? That husband that you get your sense of self-esteem from could leave you tomorrow. You know what I mean? That boyfriend you have, that girlfriend you have, that group of friends that you have, that best friend that you have. All of these types of people, all of these different labels that I'm attributing to the people around you could leave your life any moment. So what happens when you lose that partner? What happens when you lose that wife that you thought you had? What happens when you lose that husband that you thought you had? You know what I mean? What happens when you lose these people? What, you're just miserable then? You're nothing, you know what I mean? That's why I say that I think it's important to have a purpose or a meaning for your life outside of relationships, outside of marriage and that sort of thing. And again, I'm not trying to say that relationships or marriage is a bad thing. Absolutely not. I would love to live the cliche white picket fence, you know, marry a woman and have a few kids and have a couple of cars and have the house with the white picket fence and all that kind of stuff. I think that's lovely. I think that's beautiful. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us would like to have that, of course. But this idea where a lot of people have, especially today, especially like the area that I grew up in the South in the United States. So the South is kind of like the Bible Belt. The South is kind of a place where the culture tells everybody to get married as quick as you can, as young as you possibly can, and just like settle down and have a bunch of kids and stuff, like as young and as quick as you possibly can. And a lot of people buy into that where I'm from. A lot of people think that, a lot of people's lives, like where I'm from, is literally this. It's they're born, they go to school, they graduate or drop out from school, they find a partner, they marry them really quickly, and they settle down really quickly as fast as they can. Like by the time they're like 23 or something, they think that they have to be married and have a kid and have like some job, and their life is like over. You know what I mean? So in other words, like for a lot of people where I am from, where I come from in the world, and probably for a lot of you, you probably grew up around people who were like in this race. They thought life was like a race to see who could get married and have kids and settle down the earliest and the fastest. You know what I mean? Like I'm 18 years old. I've literally just graduated. I met my wife and we're getting married tomorrow, and we're gonna have kids, and we're gonna settle down like immediately right after we graduate from school. It's like there were a lot of people that I grew up around who had that sort of mindset where they thought life was a race to see who could settle down the fastest. You know what I mean? If you got married super young and settled down super young, you made it in life, and that's just it. And they never do anything else in life other than that. That's like the only vision that they had for their life at all was like, get married as quick as possible and your life is now over. You know what I mean? And there are a lot of people like that in the world who drink the Kool-Aid, where they never have their own sense of identity. They never find themselves in life. You know what I mean? They just kind of follow the crowd, do whatever society tells me to do. Society tells me to check this box at this age, check that box at the next age. Oh, I'm this age now? Well, I have to have all these boxes checked that society tells me, and stuff like this. And they also have this condescending, almost like superiority complex about them, where it's like they view you, if you're someone who did not follow that exact same life script, where it's like, go to school, graduate, get some job that you hate, and then marry somebody and then settle down, and that's it. You know what I mean? A lot of these types of people, that was all they ever like thought was important for their life at all. They never had any kind of sense of purpose or meaning outside of the relationship thing. You know what I mean? And again, a lot of this could be the culture that I come from in the South, where relationships are the end all be all. You know what I mean? If you like get a boyfriend or get a girlfriend or get a wife or get a husband, that is seen where I'm from as like the ultimate goal in life, period. You know what I mean? Like if you got married, you have won at life and you have nothing else to do other than that. It was like a lot of the people that I grew up around were these people where getting married was just the ultimate, not only the ultimate, but the only goal or aspiration or thing to achieve or to aspire towards in life, period. That was just it for them, you know? And again, I want to be very clear. I am not saying that getting married is bad or having a relationship partner is bad. I'm not saying that these things are bad. I think these things are an addition to one's life and an addition to one's purpose, not exclusively the purpose, right? So in other words, my view is life is a journey, and the partner that you may eventually get married to is something to add to your journey. It's not the journey itself. It's not the mission itself. For a lot of people, just getting a relationship partner and getting married was their entire life mission and purpose, and that's it. And again, I don't think that's smart, because you could lose your partner tomorrow like this. You know what I mean? Your partner could leave you at any moment. I'm not saying that I want that to be the case. Obviously, I want stable and long-lasting relationships for everybody, of course, you know, in this utopia that I have in my mind, but that's just not reality, guys. The divorce rate in the United States is like 50%, or I think it's like a little higher than that now. More than half. That's a lot of people who think that they've found their person who ends up not being the right person for them. So to kind of circle back, I do not think that it is smart or wise to generate your self-esteem or make your entire life purpose and mission another person. I do not think that is smart, guys, because again, people are fleeting. You know what I mean? That wife could leave you tomorrow. That husband could leave you tomorrow. That boyfriend could be cheating on you right now. That girlfriend could be cheating on you right now. You have no idea. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think it is important to have your own mission and purpose in life as an individual that's yours. You know what I mean? And the relationship and the wife and the husband and the white picket fence and all that kind of stuff, that will happen when it happens on God's timing. You know what I mean? That's in addition to the journey of life. That's not the mission itself. That's not the journey itself. A lot of people, like I said, a lot of people that I know, they have this mindset where their life is like they're checking boxes. Okay, I've reached this age now. I've graduated from school, so that means the next thing that I have to hurry up and like do, like they're like panicky about it. I have to hurry up and find a partner, any partner. You know what I mean? Any girl, I'll take any girl. I'll take any guy that's out there. Like the first girl I meet, I'll just marry her. You know what I mean? The first guy I meet, I'll just marry him. Like as quick as I can. I've graduated from school now. Now it's now what I have to do is get married, and then now my life is over and my life is complete. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how is your life complete after you've gotten married? Like, how is marriage or a relationship partner the only goal you ever had in life? Like, really? That's everyone's goal. That's like the default path. That's like saying, it's kind of like saying your ultimate goal in life is to get accepted into college. You know what I mean? You spend 18 years of your life talking about how, oh, I can't wait to get into college. And then once you get accepted, now what? Your life is just over? You've just achieved everything? That's the same kind of mindset these people have that I'm talking about, where it's like the marriage thing, the relationship thing was their only life goal and path and trajectory and purpose and meaning that they had at all. You know what I mean? And they did not have a dream that they wanted to pursue of their own. They did not have goals or aspirations of their own that they wanted to pursue in this reality, in this existence, in this life. They just didn't have that. You know what I mean? So in other words, they replaced their life meaning and purpose with like a relationship. Their relationship became their entire life purpose and mission. And that was all they ever had to live for, was just like somebody else. So these are the people that you grew up, holy shit, my voice is cracking at the age of 27. These are the people that you grew up around who will have like their relationship partner's name like in their Instagram bio. You know what I'm saying? Like their entire identity is another person. You see, if these are the people where if you were to ask them a question like, who are you? Or what are you about? The answer they would give you is someone else's name. Like, who are you? Oh, I'm so-and-so's relationship partner. I'm this other person's wife. I'm this person's husband. You know what I mean? Like, who they are is literally somebody else, because these are the people that didn't have a life mission or purpose in their life to pursue of their own. They didn't have like a dream of their own that they wanted to pursue, or something that they wanted to achieve in life other than a relationship. It's like that. It's to me, it's such surface level thinking. It's like your only goal in life is to get a relationship partner. Really? Like that's all. That's so shallow to me. It's like, do I want a relationship partner? Obviously, I think we all do. That's why I say I think it's shallow, because it's like if you're the only reason for your existence is to like get a partner, that's so strange, because that's everyone's reason. You know what I mean? That's part of existence, is wanting to reproduce. We all want to do that. You know what I mean? And that's on God's timing, when God wants that for our lives. You know what I mean? So if that's your only goal, it's like, I don't understand, how could that be your only goal in life? How? There's not a dream that you want to achieve for your life. Like maybe you want to be an airline pilot. Maybe you want to be a chef. Maybe you want to be an MMA fighter. You know, maybe you want to be a business owner. You want to be an entrepreneur. There's something in life that you want to do. You want to be a game developer. You want to be someone who codes or something like that. I think that having something of your own that is your purpose and your meaning for your individual life and your individual existence on the planet is something that you have to have outside of the relationship stuff. Because the relationship stuff, everyone wants that. Everyone will very likely experience something like that in their life and wants to, you know what I mean? But again, I think the relationship stuff, I think the marriage stuff is a side effect of the pursuing your purpose in life. It's not the purpose itself. You know what I'm saying? Because again, these things are fleeting. I've said it again, your partner could leave you tomorrow, guys. That's just the reality. So that's why I think it is a problem to make relationships or marriage a person's entire reason for their existence. Because again, it's fleeting. The partner could leave you tomorrow. And then what? You're left with nothing. You know what I mean? Not only now do you not have a partner, now you also don't have a purpose either. So now you're really lost. You know, now you're back at square zero. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different. The difference to me is between people like this, where marriage or the relationship is their purpose, is the only thing they ever pursued in life, and the person who's trying to pursue their dream or build their dream life, is one person is trying to check boxes for social approval and social validation from other people, or trying to prove something to other people. The other person is trying to build a meaningful life in all aspects of life from the bottom up. Not only are they trying to do the marriage thing and the relationship thing, of course, but they also have a dream for their life that's individualized to them. You know what I mean? So they're trying to live their life. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too, essentially. They're trying to live a fulfilling life in all aspects, not just the relationship, you know? And I'll say this too about the relationship people, where it's like, you know, where it's like that's the only goal and mission and dream in their life is a relationship. A lot of these people, they never go on to do anything else. They achieve their goal of getting married, right? And then they just give up. Their life is now over. You know what I mean? They've checked all the boxes. If you were to ask these people what their life story is, they would tell you something like, well, I went to school, I got some shitty job that I hate, I worked some shitty job that I hate, and I come home to a household that I don't want to be in, and I married some person, and that's it. Now I just go to work and I'm just some slave at some 9 to 5 that I hate, and I come home to a household that's toxic, and I'm surrounded by people that I don't even want to be around. And then it's just like, how could that be the only meaning that you have in your life? You know what I'm saying? I just don't understand that. I've never understood people who never had a dream of their own or never had a purpose of their own outside of marriage and relationships. You know, the relationship thing, that's like a predetermined default purpose or meaning if you don't have one, you know? So it's like, in other words, for these people that I'm describing, these NPCs, these normie type people that follow this life path of check this box, check that box, to them, that's what a successful life is. To them, a successful life is the default life script that society gives you. You know what I mean? Get a job, get married, and life is now over. Your life is over now. You're at the age of 23, you're in your early 20s, your life is just beginning, but in your view, your life is now over because you got married. You've just achieved everything. It's like, I don't understand that at all. That is like shallow thinking. That is lost thinking. That is societal programming. That is societal conformist. That is a person who doesn't really know who they are. That is a person who is doing what they think they should be doing based on what society tells them, not based on what they actually want from within their heart, within their soul in life. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying getting married is bad. I'm not saying having relationships is bad. What I'm saying is bad is having the relationship be the only thing that you have to live for in life. That's what's bad. The rug could be taken from your feet any second with that. A lot of people, they don't really have a very strong personal mission for their life. So they outsource it to somebody else. You know what I mean? So their relationship partner now becomes their mission, like exclusively. Their identity becomes their relationship partner exclusively. Also, I'll say this too. A lot of these people, they have this mindset where if you are someone who took a different route in life, or you're someone who maybe did not get married before you were 25 or something like that, they look at you like something is wrong with you. Like, why is that person still single? They're still single? Wow, they must not have their life figured out or something. They must be like incredibly lost or something like that. If you didn't get married just like me and, follow the societal programming of go to school, get a job, get married, and now your life is over, something must be wrong with you. You know what I mean? They have this weird, like, condescending nature to them, or this condescending kind of thing going on where anybody who is not in a relationship by a certain age is seen as like a weirdo or seen as something is wrong with you, when that's oftentimes not the case at all. That's oftentimes not the case. Some of the most successful people are people who are single for a while, typically. People who are single are people who are comfortable in their own skin, typically. People who are okay with being alone. A lot of people who rush into relationships out of fear are doing it out of fear because they're afraid to be alone. A lot of the time, they're afraid of what kind of thoughts might come up. You know, they're afraid to ask the deeper questions of reality and this sort of stuff. So the relationship becomes like a distraction in a way. It becomes a replacement for purpose and meaning in their life and that sort of thing. There are a lot of people who are literally on the earth just to be parents. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying being a parent is bad. Being a parent is a very fulfilling, beautiful thing, of course. I'd love to be a parent, right? But what I'm saying is there are lots of people who their entire reason for existing on the planet is just to be a parent, and that's it. You know what I mean? They don't have a purpose in their life outside of that. And a lot of people are that way. And listen, I'm not trying to judge anybody necessarily. I'm not trying to shit on people. I know it sounds like I am, but I think people like that lack meaning and purpose. And so therefore, their relationship becomes their purpose. It becomes their identity. It becomes who they are because they don't know who they are. And I do think it's possible to be a parent and live your dream. You know what I mean? So I don't understand why people give up on their dreams. I know a lot of times it has to do with financial stuff and you got to survive and you reach adulthood and you realize that you have to survive first and all that kind of stuff. But I still think that there are things outside of relationships that are meaningful that can give you a sense of self-esteem, which is where you should be deriving your self-esteem from anyway, not somebody else. So to kind of sum this up, my overall point that I'm getting at in the video is that I think a healthy life and a fulfilling life is one in which the relationships that you find yourself in life are a part of your journey in life, okay? And what's the problem is that whenever the relationships replace the need for a meaningful life, the relationship is your purpose in life, is your meaning. Because again, relationships are fickle. You know what I mean? Everything is temporary, and relationships are temporary as well, but your purpose is not temporary. You know what I'm saying? Your faith in God, whatever God has for your life, if you believe in God, that's not temporary. You know what I'm saying? This entire life is temporary, but if you have a purpose that you're pursuing, that is something that will follow you for your entire life. So again, not trying to shit on relationships, not shitting on marriage. What I'm shitting on is the fact, or people who have a mindset where the relationships replace their purpose and meaning. Like some other person is their only purpose and meaning in life, and they never had an actual dream of their own. That's a problem with me. Yeah, I think you can have both. I think you can have a strong purpose and meaning in your life that you're working towards and pursuing, and have the relationship as well. I think you can do both. So not just one. And I'll say this too, a lot of these people, they have like this Disney Channel mindset. They have like this Disney fantasy world mindset where they think that they're like incredibly emotional. Like they have a very emotional worldview, and they think again, like when they meet somebody in a romantic way, they think they feel validated by the person. They feel like that this person is like their identity now. They feel like this person is their life structure. You know what I mean? The emotional intensity can be very strong where it's like, oh, love, attachment, security, all this kind of stuff. It feels powerful, especially in the early stages. And so that it's called the honeymoon phase. That can blind a lot of people. That can really blind a lot of people because they think they're so in love and all this kind of stuff. And then 3 years, 5 years down the line, they're divorced. You know what I'm saying? So really, were they really in love, you know? Or were they just emotionally feeling the emotional intensity of a new relationship, you know, which all relationships have. In other words, they feel all these feelings, and that to them feels like their life purpose. You know what I mean? Their relationship partner feels to them like their entire reason for existing. Because a lot of these individuals, again, they don't have their own reason for existing. That's why I say I think it is extremely important, especially like if you're a man, but really anybody, to have a purpose outside of someone else. You need to have a reason for your existence. You need to have something that gets you up in the morning that is outside of the relationships. You know what I mean? Like you need to have a reason and a purpose for existing. Anyways, guys, that's the video. That's kind of my take on why I think you should not rely on another person to make you happy, because I don't think it's possible. I don't think you can. I think happiness has to be something that you generate from within yourself. It's got to be, you have to be okay with who you are. You know what I mean? You can't, someone else is not going to make you happy. You have to make you happy, right? You can't be codependent in such a way where someone else is your entire sense of identity, your entire sense of self-esteem, your entire sense of self-worth. You just, it's not smart to do that, because again, relationships are fleeting, and what's not fleeting is having a strong purpose of your own. So anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know your perspective. Let me know if you guys think I'm crazy. Let me know if you guys agree in the comment section. And thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.